Miss Giggles, the crazy youth teacher, and yes, I'm crazy. I'm crazy for Jesus. So, we are going to start with a new series after September 17th, and it's called The Jesus Song. And the Jesus Song is about the life and death of Jesus, and we're going to do that by focusing on the book of Matthew. We're going to work our way through it, and we're going to take each little bits and piece, these itty bitty bits and pieces of Jesus' story, and we're going to turn it into a song called the Jesus Song. And we will premiere it to our congregation on Super Bowl Sunday. We have a lot coming up this year, including our next series, which is going to be created to be after this one, which correlates with the youth gathering. So a lot of fun stuff coming up, and I cannot wait to see you in my classroom. Well, it's Miss Giggles, the crazy youth teacher, and yes, I'm crazy. I'm crazy for Jesus. So, here are my thoughts on Pastor Dan's latest series that we just finished called The Days of Our Biblical Lives, which I thought was brilliantly named, not just because of its irony to the days of our lives, the soap opera, but because the Bible itself really is like a soap opera, guys. It really is. There have been like up to 19 books of the Bibles that have been removed from the Bible. And why? Because they mention things like murder, rape, things like that. Yeah. Horrible things. And that's why they were removed. But here's the thing. We have all these really cool stories about like Noah and the ark, Jesus walking on water, the feeding of the 5,000, the feeding of the 4,000. All such miracles and all great stories. And did you know that a lot of those stories were inspiration for the books you read today in the library? That's right, a lot of the books you read in the library, fiction and nonfiction and some poetry, all have gotten inspiration from the Bible. Did you know that? The more you know, right? It's pretty cool, but let's face it, the Bible is just like a soap opera. For example, in Genesis even, with Adam and Eve, one of the biggest debates today in Christianity is who was tempted first? Was it Eve or was it Adam? We don't know. Because there was a snake, and in the Bible, of course, it says Eve was tempted by the snake, right? But did Eve somehow tempt Adam with it? See? There are so many questions. But that's what makes it like a soap opera, right? Because the first sin in the Bible was what? A snake, right? And so if the first sin in the Bible was a snake, then, of course, well, then someone had to be tempted by it, right? So then when you look at soap operas today, and you've got characters like, for example, on The Young and the Restless, there's this guy named Adam Newman, but his nickname is Spider. Spider. And what does he do? He tempts the entire Genoa city. He does. Seriously. He goes around and he tempts everyone. Of course, his father is that way too. Victor Newman, oh man, he's a snake in disguise. Most people call him the mustache though. Because he does the same thing. He goes around and somehow people are tempted by him. So see, Adam and Eve were tempted by a what? A snake. Who was tempted first? We don't know. Who is tempted by Victor Newman in Genoa City? Everyone. Because no one can say no to the man. So, yeah, a lot of inspiration comes from the Bible. And yes, it's a lot like a soap opera. Women not treated well. And when you read stories in your history book about women not being treated well, they weren't treated well in the Bible either. Because we were seen as unclean. We were unclean. And so, yeah, is the Bible one big soap opera? Yeah, but there's one hero in all of that soap opera. And who is that? It's God, right? He's the one with all the answers. Think about that. He's the one with all the answers. He's the one that's always watching. Think about this. When you're at a football game or a soccer game, who's always watching the players? The referees, right? And the fans. But who's the one that stops the plays and judges the plays? The referees, right? God is our referee. God is our referee. So our lives, Well, yeah, they can be like a soap opera too, trust me. But who always intervenes? The man upstairs. Well, not the little upstairs. This is a basement. The man above the ceiling in the sky. That man. God. So that's my thoughts on this series. I thought it was brilliantly done. Lots of fabulous sermons came out of this series. And yes, oh yeah, the Bible is a soap opera. So that's why you got to read the Bible. There is some juicy stuff sometimes. But yeah, I mean, you've got people sleeping with slaves. So, and then you've got the Virgin Mary story, of course. So again, the Bible is so much like a soap opera. So I hope you'll read your Bible, because you'll learn some really interesting things. And you can always look up history about the Bible too and why those stories were removed. But yeah, read your Bible, because it really is the days of our biblical lives.